humans have some impact on climate, or what is your opinion on that?
At some level, the cities have a different climate from the countryside. So that's a human impact. It's called the urban heat island. A broader impact on climate, I doubt it.
But why is it that this global warming debate is so concentrated then on CO2?
Because it's not a debate. And it began essentially in the 70s. You had work arguing how you could make CO2 bigger, a bigger effect, the so-called feedbacks. One of the bizarre things today, there was a man called Manabe. He wrote a paper in 1973, and he argued that if you modeled the atmosphere with a one-dimensional model, remember, we have 3 dimensions in time. He got rid of time, he got rid of 2 of the dimensions, just vertical, and he said, if I assume that as the atmosphere warms from increasing CO2, and doubling CO2 gives you a ½ degree, so it's not much. It says, if you assume that at the same time the relative humidity stays constant, so that when you warm you have more water vapor, that will double the impact of doubling CO2. And that was a revelation. A false revelation, but a revelation, because until then, there was something called Chatelier's principle. Chatelier's principle was never proven, but it was an argument that nature tries to prevent change. Manabe has come up with something now that says, if his assumption is correct, nature can amplify what man does, which sounds like something very strange for nature to do, but it became the heart of all the models. They all now try to arrange things so clouds and water and everything amplified whatever man did. And Manabe got a Nobel Prize in physics for this. Even though it's never been confirmed, it doesn't seem to be true, but it allowed you to make models that were more sensitive, because CO2 does almost nothing by itself. When you have very little CO2, each molecule is pretty effective. But, you know, we have so much CO2 in the atmosphere, even though it sounds like not much, that it already blocks infrared. It's like if you have, I've said this for about 50 years, if you take your window and paint it black, okay, it'll keep out a lot of light. You now add a second coat of black. Does it keep out as much light? No, there's no light coming through, so it does less and less. That's what happens with CO2. We have so much already that when you add a molecule, it doesn't do much. The way this shows up, and this has been known since a man called Arrhenius, a Swede around 1900. The way it shows up is you get the same effect of CO2 every time you double CO2. So for instance, if you start out at 280 parts per million and you go to 560, doubling it, you get about a ½ degree. Now to get another ½ degree, you have to double 560 to 1120 to get the same ½ degree. So now you needed, instead of 280, you needed 500 some odd. And then to get another ½ degree, you'd have to add 1,000. So, it's saying each molecule does less than its previous one. And that's been known, as I say, for more than a century.